Welcome to Shooting the Air. Hey.
Yo.
Yo. What's going on?
What's going on with you?
I was walking around in Venice, and I saw a dog sitting alone in a car, parked.
Was it parking?
It was sitting in the driver's seat and like staring out into the ocean, and it was a pickup truck.
Was it wearing? Go ahead.
The car was like right up at the end of the street where it would become the beach.
Yeah.
And I went to go pull out my camera and take a picture of the dog.
Uh-huh.
And right as I did, the dog got freaked out and put its hands up on the steering wheel.
No.
Yeah.
Did
it looked straight, like it didn't want to look at me, so it looked straight, and it nervously put its hands up on the wheel.
Did you take a picture, I hope?
Yeah. I'm going to post it as this week's JPEG, I guess. It was awesome.
Oh, well, was the car in gear?
No, but
it was completely off.
But then the owner walked up to the car, and I was like, "That dog is awesome." He's like, "Yeah." He said he likes to sit in that seat.
Oh, we forgot to say hi to Brian. Brian.
Yeah.
What's up, man?
Another day, kid.
Well, other than it being another day, how are you?
Can't complain, I guess, day by day and all, and whatnot.
How, anything new on the eligibility front?
Last time I checked, not much doing, kid.
Oh, damn, so how's the Twinjas, sequel coming?
They're planning a sequel called Triplets, About triplet ninjas, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, kid.
Lest anyone think Brian is here, he is not.
He's not?
Brian, no, Brian is not here.
Are you sure?
He's doing some twinges or some sort of related activity.
Oh, wait, damn, that was pretty, you actually provided, that was you playing Brian. Oh,
yeah.
Man. You actually provided more information in these 30 seconds we were mocking Brian than Brian does in the last 33 episodes.
Maybe for this episode I'll play myself and Brian.
Yeah, kid.
Yeah, whoever wants to play Brian in the moment, just jump in with that.
Yeah, just give us a call. Whoever wants to play Brian, and we can.
If you want to have almost no opinion.
Just your heart before you go. Summertime sadness. I just wanted you to know that, baby, you're the best. I've got that summertime sadness.
Oh boy.
Sister, summertime sadness. I've got that summertime sadness. Oh.
With songs like these, who needs Brian live? It's fantastic harmony on his part. He's so talented, this man.
All right, well, shout out to Brian, whatever you're doing.
Brian, you're missed. He's getting his 10th waiver today, I think, on the set of something. Good luck to you, my friend. Send a few waivers over my way. I might need some.
Will do, kid.
I think I'm a must-have to possibly, maybe, if you want to join status.
Brian Williams is going to kill you one day.
Oh, he's going to have to get out of Long Island first, kid.
So, other than Brian Williams, what else is going
on? Well, there's the NFL playoffs have commenced.
Oh, yes. I actually watched a game.
Oh, my goodness. It's so upsetting because the roles have switched. Back in the day, Chris was a very big football fan, and I was just a casual watcher if other people were watching. But now I'm the football, fantasy football, and real football fanatic, and Chris doesn't necessarily know when the season starts or ends.
But what about football do you like? Like, you know all the players' names, but do you actually like the formations and schemes and running and all that stuff?
Oh, don't get me wrong.
Or do you like just smashing and star power?
Smashing and star power? No, I like, if you're a fan of smashing, today's NFL is not something that you'd be a fan of. To be honest with you. Roger Goodell has taken a lot of the smashing out of the game, unfortunately. No, I like watching the game. As far as the formations and whatnot are concerned, yeah, I can identify them, but it's not like I can be able to break down defense and offensive stuff. You know, I'm not like that, but, you know, I do understand the game, and I'm a big fan of it.
Yeah, because I'll watch it, and I don't really care what any of their names are. I'm just like, ooh, that's, like, I'll just pay attention to the, like, mostly the offensive formations and what they're doing and stuff like that. I find that interesting.
Oh, I used to be like that as well. Less about the formations, more about just watching the plays up until I got into fantasy football.
Right, so you have something vested, like $200.
Yeah, I actually finished second place in one of my leagues.
So you're watching a whole season of football to see if you'll win $200.
No, not if I win $200. I won $900 for your information.
You won $900 this year?
Mm-hmm.
How much did you put in?
Well, technically, I didn't have to put in anything.
What?
Well, the buy-in is $200, but because one of my cousins owed me winnings from fantasy baseball from 3 years ago, I made him pay my initiation from his winnings.
Wow.
Yeah, so with interest, it was probably a little over 200 by this point. You know, the juice, 3 points, whatever. I'm not gonna, you know, family's family. I'm not gonna charge the kid juice on that. You know what I'm saying? So I'm just gonna let him cover the 200. Well, he already did. So in essence, I came out of it with 900, but then I had to pay 250 to two other leagues that I was a part of. So I came out with 650, clean.
Too much gambling for me.
This is the only gambling I do. I don't do any sort of gambling at all other than this.
You don't do sexual gambling, George?
I mean, I bet with my heart.
You don't have any fantasy baseball action going on?
Nope. Nope.
But yeah, I guess, what were we talking about? The league. I guess the league is a little tamer now.
It is, yeah, because of the concussion stuff and all that.
Yeah,
stuff.
a lot of people got hurt this year, huh? People going down all the time.
Yeah, that's what she said. No, I'm just kidding. That's a bad joke. The people are getting hurt differently now because you can't tackle high anymore.
Right.
You have to tackle low. So instead of a concussion where you can come back in a game, let's say, well, now they're taken much more serious, which is understandable. Instead of a concussion when the player could come back in like a week or two, their ACL gets torn because they're tackled by the legs and they miss the entire season.
Yeah, and then they have those turf and AstroTurf fields, which is like playing on concrete. Well, it's not as bad anymore. Well, remember that turf in the 80s that was just like a rug over concrete?
Yeah, they don't have that anymore.
Imagine if you're a running back and you're trying to move your feet and then like a bunch of guys tackle you. Like, you're going to rip something. Like, there's nowhere for your foot to go. It's not going to dig out any dirt.
I know, that's what it is. I don't think they use AstroTurf anymore. They have that new stuff. You know, when you're running on it, it's like a million little black pellets.
Yeah. Wait,
what is that called?
That's turf? There's one turf and one AstroTurf.
I don't know exactly which one is which, but that's definitely softer, the one where there's like a million little black pellets when you fall on it.
AstroTurf.
That's kind of cool. But what did you were saying you actually watched the game? What game did you watch?
I watched the game. I watched the 49ers versus Green Bay.
The Packers of Green Bay?
Yeah, I like the Packers. I like Brett Favre. That's why I like the Packers.
I know. Well, he's been out of Green Bay for...
Plus, that's a good team. The crowd is always, like, very hyped. I think the town owns the team. Like, it's somehow a publicly owned team.
Yeah, they're all shareholders.
Right.
Basically.
Wow.
So they all, like, when it snows, it's like an old-fashioned stadium. It's not a high-tech stadium at all. It's like bench seats and whatnot. They actually added about 8,000 seats this year, and they didn't sell all of them out for the playoff game, which is interesting because Green Bay is a tiny town. I mean, think about it. It's a major market team in a minor market town. Like, there's nothing in Green Bay other than football and some cheese.
Interesting. Yeah, so, okay, let me give you my thoughts on the game as someone who's a very casual football watcher.
Mm-hmm.
All right? I'm not going to go into specifics. I'm not going to go into plays. I'm not going to go into anything like that. But the reason I watched this is because it was touted as being potentially the coldest or one of the coldest games of all time.
Mm-hmm.
It looks like they missed it. The wind came in a little late, so it wasn't the coldest of all time, but with the wind chill, it was like minus 13.
At points, yeah, it hovered around like minus 10, which is pretty cold.
I know. And then, okay, so it starts with Joe Buck and Troy Aikman on commentary. Troy Aikman looks like he wants nothing to do with Joe Buck. Joe Buck in HD clearly has hair plugs, and they look terrible.
Does he?
Troy Aikman seems like he just wants to be left alone, and Joe Buck keeps, like, crowding in on Troy Aikman to try to, like, talk about Troy Aikman to get himself over. Like, I'm standing here next to the Hall of Famer. You've got some Super Bowl rings, don't you? And Troy Aikman's just looking straight in the camera, not even facing him, like, yep, that's true.
That's right, John.
Yeah, he wants nothing to do with Joe Buck and those hair plugs.
I think
I
a
don't know
lot
why
of people
anyone gets hair plugs.
I think a lot of people hate Joe Buck, but besides the hair plugs, I mean, I've known somebody that had hair plugs when, like, the technology first started. And I think 10 or 15 years later, it looks like natural hair, but in the beginning, it looks fucked up.
Okay, yeah, because what it's doing is almost like an alien thing on your skin. It almost makes it look like you have a wound on your head. Like, they're like spiking that thing into your fucking head.
That's basically what they do. They slice the back of your neck, and they take the hair follicles and plant them on the top of your head.
That's crazy. That's so crazy.
It is. I mean, I can't say.
Could you imagine if Bruce Willis showed up with a straight hairline that was clearly like a little. The hairs were kind of far spaced, but straight line.
He'd have a Caesar.
Like, imagine if Bruce Willis showed up on his next interview with a fully head of hair plugs.
I think he loves himself too much to ever do that.
Well, he should. Yeah. I don't know if Joe Buck really has hair plugs, but
I don't know.
You know what it is with hair plugs? They stick straight up.
They have to, like, grow. I wonder if you put fertilizer on it.
Yeah, like chia pet or what?
I can't listen. I can't judge because I'm not in those people's shoes that decide to go that route. I'm lucky enough not to have any sort of male pattern.
Yeah, you're lucky enough to be over 6 feet, perfect head of hair, movie star looks. But oh no, go on. What else are you lucky enough to have?
I'm not.
How more fortunate are you, George? Come on, keep it going.
I'm not gonna. Well, Ric Flair showed up to this football game.
I think what he's saying, kid, is when it comes to football, the ball's oblong shape, not round. Not like a rugby ball, but more like an American football.
Which allows an aerodynamicity to the pig skin filled with sometimes H2O or oxygen as opposed to helium.
No offense to hydrogen or oxygen, of course.
Yeah, kid. But that's neither here nor there. No shit, Brian. None of what you say is neither here nor there.
I'm not the kid. I'm just a spectator, that's all.
Brian, we love you, but if you expect to get away scot-free from missing a show, you have another thing coming, my friend.
In Brian's defense, I told him don't worry about it. We'll run a rerun.
Well, I mean, he's busy right now. He's like DPing, getting DP'd.
On his latest set?
On the Crack a Negro Ghost Part 3.
Well, they don't have the condom law in New York like they do in LA, so he better be careful.
That's true. That's true. Pornos shot in Los Angeles County require condoms at this point, and all the porn is leaving Los Angeles County, going up to Ventura and whatnot.
My cousin Zane was talking about condoms, why you should wear them. Do you have that clip?
I do.
Let's see what cousin Zane has to say. We haven't done one of these clips in a while. This is dedicated to Brian.
Hi, this is Zane with Practical Advice again. I know a lot of people are horny and a lot of people like to have pleasure and fun in their lives, but just be careful to use a condom before you have sex or do anything with other people, because there are a lot of consequences to face if you don't use protection. You get STDs, you could get a girl pregnant, you could get HIV, AIDS, and that's really not enjoyable to live with. So I advise to have sex with condoms, protection, make sure you know the person instead of messing around with a random stranger, and to play safe. That's my advice for today. Use protection while having sex or any interaction with people.
Any interaction with people.
That's, I think...
Even when you're shaking hands, make sure you wear a condom.
A rubber glove or something, some saran wrap, you never know.
Thank you, Zane. That's good stuff.
That's
George, write this down.
That's very practical advice from Zane. Thank you, Zane. I should follow some of that, because many a time have I laid my cock down on the chopping block, not worried about any sort of consequences. Luckily, I'm still around, at least.
The NFL needs to make some contact rules to protect you.
No concussions.
Yeah. Okay. Let me get back into the let me get back into the game. Okay. So it was the Cold Bowl. I was super fascinated by those hair plugs and how weird Joe Buck acts. He just acts like a beta man, and then seeing him stand next to Troy Aikman, who's such an alpha man, it just feels weird.
You think Joe Buck is a cuckold?
Yeah, I think I don't know Joe Buck, but based on what I saw, when you blur your eyes, you could picture him being cuckold. Cuckold!
I hate cuckold.
Okay.
Yeah, man.
Okay, so let's get into how cold this game was. It looked so cold that I, in fact, watching the game, put on a hooded sweatshirt to go outside, thinking it would be as cold outside, not realizing that I live in California. And then I realized how stupid it was what I had done.
The funny thing is, Colin Kaepernick, who is from California, the quarterback of the 49ers, but wasn't wearing any sleeves.
Oh, yeah, some of these big burly guys. But he's skinny, Kaepernick. But, yeah, some of these guys were not wearing sleeves.
I don't know.
I don't know if it was a macho thing or what. But it was so cold the grass was brown, as Lambeau Field has natural grass, and it was brown grass.
Yeah, the grass wouldn't grow. That's how cold it is.
I know. This is like jokes, but this is really what happened. It just sounds like it's a joke.
No offense to anyone living in those areas. That must be miserable.
Oh yeah.
And this is
it's actually pretty nice this time of year.
That's an Irish Scottish Fargo. This is coming from a person that used to have his windows open in the winter in New York, if you remember Chris correctly.
Yeah.
in my room growing up.
That was pretty miserable.
That was like the frozen tundra of Queen's rooms, going upstairs. I used to love the cold. Now I've become, since before moving out to Los Angeles, I've become, quote unquote, pussified.
No, that's what happens when you move to a warmer climate. Your blood thins. I
think mentally I was out here about a year before I did get out here.
Yeah.
Because I couldn't handle the cold anymore.
Yeah, it's not nice. And all the yellow piss in the snow in New York City at least in Green Bay, I could picture it looking like a little nicer than that.
But speaking of Green Bay, not to jump off topic actually, speaking of Green Bay, I'm giving a shout out to someone in Kansas. I know they're not necessarily...
That's not Green Bay. What are you talking about?
I know. It's middle America. I mean, at this point, between New York and Los Angeles, you get Chicago and...
those Kansas and Green Bay are like 800 miles from each other.
Regardless, it's somewhere bunched in the middle. We have a new fan in Kansas, actually, courtesy of one of our guests, Bryce Abood.
Thank you, Bryce.
Yeah, one of his friends, who I didn't catch your name. I'm sorry. because I was at work today being my usual grumpy self when Bryce mentioned it to me. And so I'm giving a shout out to you, whatever your name is. Thank you for listening. And also a shout out to Bryce, who, remember he talked about that website that he likes, Topless Robot? He's actually writing for them now.
Ah, congratulations to Bryce.
So very nice for him. Big things coming along for everybody involved.
Yes.
And thanks, shout out to Middle America, Kansas, Green Bay.
Green Bay, Indianapolis, Denver. Big shout out to Denver. Big shout out to Juneau, Alaska.
Juneau,
Alaska. Big shout out to Middle America, Calgary, Canada. Big shout out to Middle America, Calgary, Canada.
That's a different country, Chris. Give me a break.
Speaking of the, well, we could go. Okay, it was so cold. One more of these. It was so cold. I noticed when Kaepernick was in the shotgun formation.
Yeah.
And Aaron Rodgers was in the shotgun formation. They were keeping their hands in those little hand warmers, so you knew they weren't going to snap the ball until they whipped their hands out real quick.
That's funny, right? So everyone could time it.
Yeah, because they'd be like hut, and they'd call hike, and they'd whip their hands out real quick to catch the shotgun snap.
Oh, it will be messed up if your hand gets caught in that.
Yeah, because it looked funny, like they were wearing a hoodie with their hands tucked in, and they were like hike.
Hike.
Speaking of names and just monstrous looking, first names that I noticed as a casual fan these days. There's a player called LaMichael James.
Oh yeah.
Like LeBron James and Michael Jordan combined. LaMichael James.
I think I forget what position he plays. There's
also, speaking of scary football names, on one of these teams I saw on one of these recaps, there's a player called Massacroix, like a French name. He's like a big lineman, man. He's called Massacroix, like massacre.
Yeah, Massacroix. I actually have a friend with the same last name. Also an African American man.
Massacroix.
Maybe they're related.
Okay. In terms of monstrous players that I noticed, there's a defensive tackle on Green Bay. He's number 79. He has shoulder pads, but I'm not sure why. They seem to just be pressed on as much as possible, but his tits are sticking out of the bottom of them. It seems like the only thing this shoulder pads do is choking him. It seems like how a cartoon would draw a big football man.
I think it's illegal not to wear the pads.
I'm telling you, this guy had, because on the side of the pads the strap is there, and the strap was cutting his tit fat in half.
Oh my God.
This guy was so large, and one of the guys, his tits were started fully below the pads.
That's very
There's no reason for these men to be wearing shoulder pads.
Well, had I known what happened before the game, I would have put all my money on San Francisco, who won, by the way. Because what happened before the game, Chris?
Hold on, we'll get there.
Oh.
For a couple more quick observations about monstrous players. There's a man named Lacy. Do you know that man?
Eddie Lacy. He's a running back for the Packers. He's a rookie.
He's really good runner. When he stood on he has dreads though, and when he stood on the sideline, they put this gigantic coat on him, and he had dreads, and you just saw a man wearing basically a gigantic cape with huge shoulder pads and dreadlocks hanging down, and he looks like a monster. He looks like Predator. And also, on funny note, on the Packers, they have a fullback named Kuhn.
Oh yeah,
he's like an old school fullback, like that fullback you just give the dive to that gets like 2 yards guaranteed.
He got a touchdown. Oh, he got a touchdown last week. Remember when
he gets a touchdown? The crowd yells Kuhn. He goes to do the Lambeau leap and jump into the crowd, but either trips or is just too stocky of a fullback to make the jump.
No, he slipped on something.
Okay, because he tries to jump and misses, and then tries to get up there again and cannot.
No,
and
he just crashed into the wall.
And he just turns around and is like, yay! And the crowd's like, yay! And the crowd's trying to help him up.
Yeah, man, there's no way they're going to pull a 350-pound fullback up.
He couldn't even pull himself up. It was just so humorous to see that, this guy, the fullback is the type of guy whose job it is to either put on a block or run for 2 yards. So for him to then sprint to the end and try to do an athletic jump, it was very comical to see the result.
Yeah.
Also, Aaron Rodgers, man, he's smart. He's like, would you say he's better than Brett Favre?
He's smarter than Brett Favre, that's for sure.
He did do the Brett Favre flip. That was cool to see. He did that little, when you're in trouble, just flip the ball forward to whoever's out there.
Yeah, he did that. He takes a lot less risks. Overall, Brett Favre was awesome because he didn't give a shit. Like, he threw passes into triple coverage and those receivers caught them, and that's what made him great. But, you know, he was fearless. He wasn't exactly that smart. He had great instincts.
Right. He's like the most exciting dog at the dog park.
Yeah, he was just a gunslinger. You know, he didn't give a shit. Brett Favre is a technically sound, extremely smart.
Rodgers. You're saying Rodgers.
What did I say?
Said Favre.
No, Favre takes wiener pictures. He's not. Rodgers is. Rodgers is technically sound, very smart. There's actually rumors apparently the last few weeks of him being gay floating around. Yeah. It was the weirdest thing. It like blew up online. Someone that he was friends with, apparently, they had a falling out, and then he started tweeting different things about, blah, blah, blah. Some people aren't as important to you as you think they are. Like shit, like what a.
That sounds like a pretty gay argument.
Yeah, like what a pissed off ex-girlfriend would act like.
No, but sometimes friends act that way too. So they're trying to say he's gay because his friend was being bitter.
But he always like showed up to places with this friend, you know, like to events and shit like that.
It's so weird that we live in this digital age that like someone, you know, the tough football player is their little petty businesses on Twitter for all the world to see.
That's just how it works. I mean, if he is gay, he's gay. Who cares?
It doesn't really take the mystique off different things, you know?
I mean, there has to be gay athletes.
No, I'm not even talking about the gay thing, though.
Mm-hmm.
But just, like, it takes the mystique away from, like, wow, he's this Superman quarterback. Actually, no, look at his Twitter page. He, like, you know...
Yeah. That's up to you.
Sharing his cooking recipe.
Yeah, that's up to you as an individual to keep that. That's why no one knows a thing about it.
Well, has there ever been a gay quarterback?
Quarterback? No. Not openly gay. I mean, just recently there was an openly gay basketball player, and nobody signed him.
Really?
Well, he was on the downside of his career at this point. He wasn't really any good.
He was a bottom.
It looks like that, I guess. But he's like a 7-foot guy. I don't know. He would have...
Yeah, maybe everyone's homophobic or whatever that is.
Who knows? But there's got to be gay players in professional sports. I mean, saying there's not is ridiculous.
But think about in those alpha male locker rooms how many times the fag word is thrown around. It really is not advantageous for anyone to come out as saying they're gay. Imagine
there was a gay guy with Incognito in the Dolphins locker room.
Oh my good lord.
Maybe Incognito's a closeted homosexual. That's why he didn't like Jonathan Martin. Because Jonathan Martin seemed a little bit fruity to me. Tiny bit fruity.
That was the guy who was making fun of him for a black or whatever.
Yeah, I mean...
I was playing one time SOCOM, which was like a Call of Duty, original Call of Duty, and there was a player's name on there called Incognito, and that was the funniest frickin' name I ever saw on there.
I love how you're sounding like an old man more and more. Back in my day, we had the SOCOM on the PlayStation 2.
Back here, you guys had the 56K modem in those days.
We just had, I remember George had the cable modem and I couldn't believe the speed. Because I remember as soon as it was available in my neighborhood, my dad got the cable modem back in the day, and that shit was fast.
Don't even mention Firehose.
My SPC Global account went out the window.
Speaking of SBK Global, they actually got bought out by ABA, which is a division of CMBB. Some pretty nice people over there, you know.
Who's Sam Globotel bought it from John Tenoble, at a stock price of 8.2 billion 85 cents per share,
So that's
according
why
to the Nasdaq.
I just thought that was funny. You know, I thought that was pretty funny.
Oh, thank you, Brian, for bringing the show to a screeching halt once again.
Okay, so, speaking of old man, my apartment smelled like a nursing home this week. I need to air this thing out. Okay, so the end of the game, yes, there was a field goal, and they got it by a small margin. Not only was it almost wide, it was a good kick, but when the Packers went to block it, the guy ran hard and dove to block it, and his body was at a certain angle that the ball, when kicked, went straight through his arms like he was making the field goal sign, and the ball went through those diving field goal arms and then went up past all the players and through the field goal.
And oh, wow. The Patriots are playing Indianapolis right now. Pick 6, New England on the first play of the game. Sorry. Yes, but it turns out...
Your comment will be dated by the time people hear this.
It went right through his hands, but it turns out it wouldn't have been, even if he blocked it, it wouldn't have made a difference because he was offsides.
Oh. Oh, really?
Yeah. So it wouldn't have made a difference.
You got a little excited.
Yeah.
They actually, if you saw at one point in the game, they drew, one team drew the other team offsides, but they didn't call the snap. Like, they went like, hut! And the defensive end stood up on one leg and was wobbling with the other leg down on the ground and one leg up in the air. It's pretty funny to see that.
That's so crazy that you're having guys ready to smash each other at full speed, but they can't even move a finger before the ball is hiked. It takes a lot of discipline. That's hard, man. I can't sit still for 5 minutes, let alone ready to tackle someone.
Okay, so let's talk about, so it was a very, very razor-sharp close game. I was rooting for the Packers, but the 49ers
was well played.
won.
It was very well played for a freezing cold game. Like, it was a good game.
Yeah, it was. I didn't like all those sneaky, all those trick plays that the 49ers do. I like the style of the Packers better, but, the 49ers, they have a good passing team, and they did a good job.
You're sneaky.
And also, before the game... So let's talk about this. Before the game, the 49ers locker room got a bit of a hype-up surprise.
Yeah. They invited a special guest to their locker room. And I'll give you guys one guess as to who this very special, near dear friend, I don't know why, it doesn't really make sense.
Was it me? SAG-eligible Brian?
No, kid.
Oh.
Mean! Woo! Oh, yeah! Woo! My God! Molesting! What the hell's going on tonight? When I get you in Washington, D.C. Uh-oh. Oh!
What is that?
Ric Flair. That was Ric Flair's pep talk. San Francisco 49ers.
Okay. So one of the 49, I guess Ric Flair is remarkable in that he is an older man, and people who are so young that they wouldn't have even remembered him in his prime are somehow very big fans of Ric Flair because he's like pure energy and pure clowny mass. I can't explain Ric Flair. He's just the life of the party, even at his age, his now 65 to 70-year-old age. So Ric Flair was invited by the 49ers to come speak and do a pep talk. So the 49ers are all sitting in their game room looking over game film, and all of a sudden on the film room starts Ric Flair's entrance video. The lights go out, the door opens, and Ric Flair walks in the room, and all the players start going crazy.
We got a woo-off.
What's that?
Oh, Ric Flair woo-off.
So Ric Flair walks in the room to his theme song, and these, keep in mind, 25 to 30-year-old football players look at Ric Flair and start going crazy, doing woo, woo. Ric Flair cuts a pretty emotional speech and then starts doing his little prancing and gyrating around in a circle, and everyone's happy.
This is the entire San Francisco 49er team applauding, standing up, and going nuts.
For Ric Flair.
They played his music as he walked into the room. They had all the lights off. They had his music video playing on the TV. And all the 49ers just are ecstatically happy about Ric Flair, 70-year-old Ric Flair.
From wrestling. Like, football players in their prime going crazy over Ric Flair. 30 years past his prime.
Hey, he still does it.
I think he was a little bit lower key because I think he was recently forced to go to rehab after some tricks that he pulled.
That's unfortunate. They should just let him drink and do drugs as much as he wants.
I know, he hasn't died yet.
I know, and look at the Iron Sheik, too. I mean, why stop it?
Iron Sheik, yeah, him and Iron Sheik with the drugs. Hogan and Warrior with the roids are not dead yet. That's surprising.
Well, Ultimate Warrior is actually kind of smart about it. I think he stopped. Didn't he stop? Hogan has not stopped.
He's still going. He's pretty beat up. But anyway, okay, so Ric Flair cut a pretty emotional speech saying he was honored, and I guess he was kind of put up to it, publicity appearance. But at the same time, 49ers are about to play Carolina in the playoffs, and Ric Flair's from Carolina. He always talks about being from North Carolina and being from Charlotte. And I guess he rubbed some people the wrong way when he said that the 49ers were number one in his heart and that he was with them.
Yeah.
So, which is what Ric Flair says to anyone in front of any crowd, probably. But the fact that he said it there and went there for a publicity stunt, I guess rubbed some people the wrong way because the Panthers, Steve Smith, the wide receiver from the Panthers, was pissed saying, I have a custom Ric Flair robe that I bought. We're big fans, and he's, a big guy around town, so that's a disrespectful slap in the face, and you've now burned a bridge, Ric Flair.
Yeah, apparently. But hey, I don't think that's going to last because everyone loves Ric Flair.
Woo! It is funny, though, that Ric Flair, whatever, he causes trouble and excitement wherever he goes.
I know. I actually started wooing at work. Whenever I would go into the back area, I would just go, woo! And apparently a lot of my coworkers have begun doing that as well.
Yeah, my little brother is not even a wrestling fan, and he loves Ric Flair.
Everybody loves Ric Flair.
My little brother's 16 years old.
The Nature Boy. But he's a charismatic man. Woo! Woo!
And he looks so crazy, and his head is always bleeding in those old clips.
I know.
And he's always slurring. I guess someone's been calling up Mike Francesca doing a very bad Ric Flair impersonation, and Mike Francesca keeps letting them on.
Because I don't think he knows what's happening.
Yeah, because most of his callers are from the Northeast, and then he'll be like, all right, we're going to Rick and Charlotte, and then the guy just does like a bad Ric Flair impersonation for like a minute.
I've never actually heard that.
Yeah, it doesn't sound too good. It's just funny that it keeps happening.
Francesca.
Okay, so that was that. Ric Flair causing some waves. 49ers, let's see how they do. And then this week will be the game, 49ers and Charlotte. I might actually watch that just to see.
Yeah, Carolina. Well, they both have very good defenses. They trot
Ric Flair out there for some drama.
They both have very good defenses, and they both have dynamic playmaker quarterbacks. So let's see what happens. It's going to be interesting, and it won't be like 5 degrees.
Right.
Speaking of Mike Francesa, he actually broke news today that Alex Rodriguez has officially been suspended for the entire 2014 Major League Baseball season.
Wow. Yeah, I was hearing something about that. Are they like, trying to lessen it, or he's going to sue? Like, it's basically taking millions of dollars out of his pocket, right?
He's losing a year's salary, basically.
So that's like $24 million or something?
Around there, give or take a couple million.
Give or take. Pish posh.
Yeah, at that point, give or
Oops,
take.
drop that million. I don't got time to pick it up.
It's okay. I can't be bothered with lifting
I guess
a
we're
million.
seeing that A-Rod does have time to pick it up.
I guess so.
So he wants to bring it to federal court.
I don't know of if he lost the appeal with Major League Baseball. They tried to suspend him for the remainder of last year and the entirety of this year, which would have been 215 games, right? That's what they initially wanted. So he appealed it. He got to play throughout the end of last year and continued the appeal in the off season, which is currently the Major League Baseball off season right now. So he lost the appeal and he's getting suspended for the entire 2014 season. I don't know if he can possibly appeal again. This is not legally binding stuff. Like, this is the court of Major League Baseball. Right. It's not like he can take it, say it's illegal or anything. Like, at the end of the day, they're a business and they're saying you're suspended.
Right.
So I don't know what else he can possibly do. The interesting thing is, because this guy is just a media circus. He's a goddamn fiasco, this guy. Yeah. Apparently, he is going to be suspended for all of the 2014 games, right? But he can report to spring training and take part in spring training completely.
Right. No, he's not going to do that.
Yes, he said he is.
He is going to do that.
Because he's a damn moron, and he doesn't know how to get out of his own way. And he doesn't know, he tries so hard to be liked that people hate him because it's just not genuine.
That's like the LeBron James a couple of years ago. He's like, he had all the kids around like, guys, I'm leaving the team. I'm going to make some money. Aren't you happy for me?
But you see, LeBron James, at that point, he started being a bad guy, which affected his play. And then after that, he just was like, I don't care, and I'm going to play. And you didn't hear anything from him, from the LeBron James camp, as opposed to the Alex Rodriguez camp, which is infested by zombies, apparently, because they don't know what's happening.
Well, the difference is LeBron James didn't do anything wrong. A-Rod this is a steroid issue, correct?
That's true, yes.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm doing some math, and I could be grossly wrong, but to me, 25 million divided by 215 games equals $100,000 a game?
Oh, yeah.
What?
162 games.
Well, I guess that cast of Friends was making $1 million an episode, so let's figure this out. If the cast of Friends were baseball players and there was 215 episodes of baseball, they would have made $215 million a year.
Which I'd rather watch A-Rod play with steroid needles sticking out of his ass every single day until he's 70 than watch a full season of Friends.
I thought Friends was well written, but I wasn't my thing.
No, I hated it. I've always hated it. I've tried to watch it.
It's a very female demographic.
But people of all races, colors, creeds, sex, people love Friends.
Except the people of all races are not allowed on Friends.
That's
Speaking
true.
of which, very similar shows. Big Bang Theory, I think, is like the V2, version 2 of Friends. Like, it's actually funny for, I think, like, anyone could watch it and laugh. Or, like, guys and girls, let's put it that way.
Yeah.
And it's kind of still has that same, like, relationship aspect, long-term relationships, this and that. People live in the same complex.
I know you're a big fan of Big Bang Theory. I don't have any problems with that show. It's entertaining.
Let's put it this way. Even if you're not, in terms of comedy, it's a superior show than Friends because it's actually comedy, where most of the characters have some sort of flaw where they are a quote-unquote loser in one way. Mm-hmm. Whereas Friends was pretty people in a soap opera. It was a soap opera masquerading as a sitcom. There wasn't much conflict. They lived in a very nice house in New York City. Now, if you work in a coffee shop in New York City, you're not going to be living in that atmosphere.
No, of course not.
And they didn't really do, like, funny things. They did, like, cute funny things. Like, a joke on Friends would be, like, a sight gag, or they would be like, you said the word monkey funny. That's not a joke.
Yeah, just a stupid gag.
where like the writing on Big Bang has not gone down for 7 years or whatever it is, and in terms of comedy structure and writing, I think it's really worth watching. I know it has that cheesy network laugh track and all.
Now, at the same time, your argument about being pretty, everyone on network television is pretty. Even the ugly people are pretty.
I understand, but come on, that show was like the next level. They had Jennifer Aniston. That's a bona fide movie star.
Oh, yeah. Well,
she wasn't at the time.
Yeah, she wasn't at the time, you know. Well, everyone on Big Bang Theory is attractive. Male and or female.
I don't know.
They're all attractive, yeah, man. I'm telling you. Some of their features might be a little pronounced over. Someone might have a big nose. Sheldon Cooper might have a tiny head, shit like that. They're all very attractive people. You can't argue with that.
To be nice to those people, I won't, but I think someone could.
As far as deeming each person attractive,
I see what you're saying as compared to real life, as compared to TV.
Yeah.
Yeah, I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
I see what both of you guys are saying, and speaking of which,
yeah, kid.
Hey, anything else with that A-Rod stuff?
Yeah, he said he's gonna partake in spring training, and I don't know what for. It's gonna be a damn circus, but that's the news broke today, I think. So there's nothing else I really know about it as of yet.
Breaking news.
You bring us the stories and we'll regurgitate them.
Speaking of the Midwest,
Kansas?
Yeah, well, all of that. The Midwest, that one big state.
Nice.
You know that area in between New York and LA called America?
Oh shit, I'm familiar with it. I drove through it.
Yeah. I flew over it a couple times.
I see it on the map. The map.
It's that thing under the clouds, right? When you're in the plane?
Yeah, man.
I saw Nebraska.
Ooh. How did you like Nebraska?
It was fantastic.
Yeah, I heard good things. I haven't had an opportunity to watch it.
It was hilarious. I thought it was going to be like a drama. I thought it was going to be like an indie drama. It was hysterically funny.
Oh, that's awesome.
It was funny in the way that Fargo was funny, in that everyone's very dry and they don't give you a lot. And then when they do give you something verbally, it's so little that you're laughing at how little they've given you.
Yeah. That's good. No, I'm going to catch it at some point.
George, can you pull up real quick that clip from Fargo? Oh yeah, we're having some trouble down here by the lake. I'm going crazy down here by the lake.
Let's see.
I'll talk blab a little more. It was shot in black and white, which was kind of interesting. It's very noticeable at first, but the composition and the use of shadow and colors are black, being black, white, or shades of gray, are so good that it looks so beautiful that you kind of forget about it.
Is it black and white?
Yeah, the whole thing is black and white.
That's pretty cool.
And but yeah, it doesn't make it feel boring or anything like that. If anything, like there's one shot where it's like this light green hill. Well, you assume the hill is green. It's like a light colored hill and black cows all littered throughout the hill, and it's a very wide shot. So they have in that way it's also very Midwestern, these grand shots.
Mr. Mora?
Yeah?
Officer Olson?
Yeah, righto. Well, so I'm tending bar down there at Eklund and Swedden's last Tuesday, and this little guy's drinking, and he says, so where can a guy find some action? I'm going crazy out there at the lake. And I says, what kind of action? And he says, woman action. What do I look like? And I says, well, what do I look like? I don't arrange that kind of thing. And he says, but I'm going crazy out there at the lake. And I says, yeah, but this ain't that kind of place.
Uh-huh.
He says, oh, so I get it. So you think I'm some kind of jerk for asking, only you don't use the word jerk.
I understand.
Then he calls me a jerk. Says, the last guy thought he's a jerk is dead now. So I don't say nothing. He says, what do you think about that? And I says, well, that don't sound like too good a deal for him then.
You got that right.
Yeah, he says, yeah, that guy's dead, and I don't mean old age. And then he says, geez, I'm going crazy out there at the lake.
White Bear Lake?
Yeah, well, at Eklund and Swedland, that's closer to Moose Lake, so I made that assumption.
Oh, sure.
Anyway, he's drinking at the bar, so I don't think a whole great deal of it. But then Mrs. Mora, she heard about the homicides down here and thought I should call it in, so I called it in.
Wow.
End of story.
Well, what does this guy look like, anyways?
Oh, he's a little guy, kind of funny looking.
Uh-huh. In what way?
Oh, just in a general kind of way.
Okay. Well, thanks a bunch, Mr. Mora. You're right. It's probably nothing. But thanks for calling her in.
Sure. Looks like she's going to turn cold tomorrow.
Oh, yeah. Got a front coming in.
Yeah, you got that right.
That is so good.
Jesus.
Okay, so Nebraska had a lot of that, and it was even more realistic, and it was even more slow than that. I don't know if you could call it realistic. It's almost like the situation is not real. It's like making fun of. It's like the Midwest making fun of itself, but it's done in a way that's not saying like, oh, they're hicks. Like it's very on the inside, you know. You don't feel like it's like some people in Hollywood calling people that are in the Midwest idiots. You feel like it's people in the Midwest making fun of generally the way they are, and it's kind of fun, you know.
Yeah.
It almost feels like you're being invited in rather than separating someone and pointing a finger at them, if that makes any sense.
Gotcha.
It was interesting in black and white to see, you know, new stores, new trucks, new signs, new road signs. You know, like newer things in the black and white. You're like, oh, wow, that's a current Dodge Ram in black and white, you know?
Okay, so you have that old school feeling, but it's not, it's like modern, basically.
Most of the houses, you know, were older just because they were built in that older era, but then it wasn't like they were new. They were run down because they were old houses. So it was interesting to see black and white with what things would look like today. And what you notice is that black and white holds up good. Like if you want to learn about lighting or film or anything like that, I would suggest watching this. They didn't use... Check this out, George. This might interest both of us right now. They did not use any real motion shots that I could think of. Like a lot of the shots were just static or tilting a tripod axis. It was very simple, but very well done.
Well, I'm gonna watch it for sure, and then we'll talk about it again next week.
Yeah, the leads, real quick. The leads were. The leads were very good. I won't get too much into the story. Both leads were very good. The side characters were also very good. He had two fat cousins who were like delinquents. That was one weird thing. Anyone who was fat in the movie was somehow a villain. I don't know what that was all about. But that was a little...
Because fat people are stupid.
Yeah, right, like slothful, greedy, you know, stuff like that. But the one weird thing I noticed is that sometimes when the characters would do exposition with that Midwestern sort of thing they had going on, it sounded very contrived. Like it was obvious that the people were acting when they were doing exposition. And this film had a couple times when they were doing it. And sometimes the weird thing, the first time they would introduce a character, that character would spill on exposition. Like, oh, here's what's been happening. And it was kind of weird to introduce characters that were like, this character's not too good or this actor's not too good. And then as you watched it further and they actually had like real lines and story things, you're like, oh wow, this is really good. But it was kind of weird that they would introduce everything that way.
I see what you're saying.
That was the only things, I guess. Especially the mom character was introduced in the first like 5 minutes and she did that, so it kind of took me out. But then by the end of it, I was like, this movie is laugh out loud the whole time funny, and it's also touching. It was very touching at the end. So I would recommend it, Nebraska. It's about, real quick. Shit, we didn't even say what it's about. Sorry, guys. It's about... Do you want to take this?
No, you saw it.
Yeah, okay. It's basically, it's a very simple premise. There's an older man who's, you don't know if he's senile, dementia, or just spirited or what. He gets a ticket in the mail saying he's won $1 million, but it's just one of those BS things that say, you know, you've been approved for $1 million of life insurance, or that, you know, hand in a magazine subscription and you could win $1 million. You know, it's just it's just one of those schemes to get people to sign up to get like a magazine subscription. Anyway, he keeps holding the ticket. He keeps claiming he has $1 million. So every time everyone tells him no, he just agrees with them, but then he takes off and disappears from the house, this old man. So he just starts walking towards Nebraska, which is 2 states away. So his son keeps catching him and bringing him home. So then finally the son says, fuck it, I'm going to bring you. And they go on this whole little, adventure, and the dad keeps wandering off to get drunk. And basically they go back to the dad's hometown, which is on the way, and it kind of takes you through who the dad is and why he's like that. So it's the main character is the son, but you know, it's a lot about the dad and his life and things the son didn't know. So in that way, it was touching with those funny Midwestern lines, though. That had me rolling the whole time.
Oh, very cool. Yeah, I definitely want to check it out.
And what else? What else? Have you seen anything good?
Nothing good. No.
You've been watching just New York news about the new mayor. What's that guy's name?
De Blasio.
Blasio. That sounds like the mayor of a Batman cartoon.
Yeah, the thing is, I didn't know this. He was born and raised in Massachusetts, and he's a Red Sox fan. And I'm not a Yankee fan.
Uh-oh.
But how can you elect someone like that as a mayor of New York? He might be qualified for the job. I don't know, but still.
That can't stand.
I know, right? Well, anyway,
right, so
he was apparently in Williamsburg, Brooklyn, at this pizzeria, and someone snapped a picture of him eating.
I wonder which pizzeria he was at.
Carmine's.
Oh, okay.
Which is good. Yeah, that place is good. Haven't been there in a while.
I thought that was in Little Italy.
I'm sure there's tons of Italian places named Carmine.
Okay, go on.
Someone snapped a picture of him eating a pizza with a fork and knife.
Okay.
Thin crust, mind you. Nothing that is hefty in order to substantiate a fork and knife use. In my opinion, that's blasphemy, especially if you're going to represent New York. It might be a little stupid thing to somebody, but if you're basically representing New York.
Okay, so it's not that he's a germaphobe. It's just that that shows that he's not from New York and he's running New York. That he was not holding the pizza.
Exactly.
With his hands.
Exactly. Now, don't get me wrong. I don't know how Bloomberg ate pizza. Someone probably fed it to him, but I'm sure they were holding it.
Now, I take the crust out of the plate and hold the crust, but do you know how do you feel if someone eats it while holding the plate as folding the plate with the crust?
I have my reservations about that too. You grab the pizza by itself, fold it, and bite it.
And you just awkwardly hold the plate in your other hand for no reason.
Yeah, keep it like that. Boom. That's how pizza's meant to be eaten. You don't fold the plate. You know,
the plate is like a cigarette that you take a drag from once in a while.
Yeah, you have the plate underneath to get the oil from dripping. You know what I'm saying? You have the perfect way of eating a slice of pizza is you're holding the plate in the left hand along with a napkin around the base of your hand. So you're holding the plate with the two fingers, your thumb and your index finger, and also a napkin sticking out from the bottom. So you bring the pizza to your face, hold the plate underneath, bite it, and as you're moving away, you could wipe your chin, the grease off your chin with two hands, never releasing the pizza, never releasing the plate, always having the napkin.
Could you imagine if someone had a cast on their hand and they were living in New York, how much grease would be on that cast?
It's greasy cast.
I would even eat, though, the specialty slices that had all the shit that could fall off, and I'd even eat that with my hands like, try to catch whatever was falling, you know?
No, man, that's how you eat pizza. You don't, unless it's
that's
a
how you eat
deep dish.
pizza, like an animal.
Yeah, unless it's a deep dish pizza, like one of those big-ass casserole type pizzas, that I understand because you can't hold that. But I'm going to refer to one of my go-to sites, Barstool Sports. He made an article about this, and the guy that owns it says it's perfectly acceptable to eat pizza with a fork and knife, a New York pizza with a fork and knife. Keep in mind, this guy is also born and raised in Massachusetts.
Yeah.
So I'm sorry, my friend, El Presidente, as he is referred to on the website. You're 100% absolutely wrong, in no way, shape, or form in any position to claim that it's okay to eat it with a fork and knife, especially if you're not from New York.
Shout out to Barstool Sports. They've been very good to us in the past.
They have. Absolutely. Don't get me wrong. Love Barstool, but that's a stupid thing to say.
Stupid of you, Barstool.
Yeah, they've hosted several of our videos.
I bet you use a napkin too.
Yeah, I mean one bounty works. You know. De Blasio, Team Pizza.
Good luck to De Blasio and his pizza situation over there.
Yeah, he needs to get his shit together.
I'm surprised Bloomberg didn't steal a fourth term.
No, you know what? It wouldn't have made a difference anyway. But
isn't it so funny how the reason Anthony Weiner is not mayor is because Bloomberg took that third term saying that Weiner wasn't ready yet or whatever, or that was the vibe, and then all that shit came out about Weiner right after that. He would have already been the mayor.
I don't know. I think it happened well into the third term. It didn't happen right after.
Well, that's what I'm saying. If it wasn't for him taking that third term, Weiner would have probably been the mayor.
You think?
It was possible. Like, if he had a good campaign, he was like the young up-and-comer for that seat. And then all that shit came out during the third term.
That is true. Yeah, you have a point. He would have been
maybe a disgraced mayor or maybe a mayor that had a scandal but still was going. But now it's like he can't even get in the seat, especially with his goofy antics.
No. He's
I wonder if he has any problems with Ric Flair.
Woo!
Ric Flair approves of his Wiener sending.
Now, question. This guy de Blasio, born and raised in Massachusetts, Red Sox fan.
Yeah. Are you speaking in complete sentences today?
More than
you're like listing his stats. 6'2", 225 pounds.
Think about it. Do you dare wear a Boston Red Sox hat in New York as mayor of New York?
My aunt is from Massachusetts, and she's like a Patriots and Red Sox fan.
What does your aunt do for a living?
She's like the principal of a school.
Okay, she's not mayor of New York. Your aunt could wear whatever the hell she pleases.
Mayor of a school in New York.
Yeah, but the school doesn't. The school isn't representing anything other than education. Right,
which I guess Boston would have more than New York. Go on.
I don't know. Now, you obviously cannot wear a Yankee hat or a Met hat for that matter. And you also can't wear a Boston Red Sox hat. You can't. You cannot as mayor of a New York City.
All right, I'll tell you what he could do. I'll tell you exactly what he could do. Find a AAA or AA or single A Mets or Yankees team that is in the Massachusetts area. And wear that hat.
Shut the hell up.
Seriously. He would be for Massachusetts team, but he'd also be for the Yankee or Met franchise.
Or you're gonna do one of those abomination jerseys that stitch two different jerseys together?
No, don't do that. That is like weak. That's weak. That you know what that's such a weak that makes the guy seem so weak that you think you could just stick your fingers in the seam and rip the whole man apart with the jersey.
Hopefully, if he does that, he'll walk to the Williamsburg Bridge and take a nosedive off of it.
Shout out to Nick. Okay, so what else is going on? So did you have some love segment again? Don't ask me any personal questions, George. You make me and Brian feel uncomfortable on the show.
Listen, man, it's all in the sake of I'll make this statement.
I like the Yankees and Red Sox, no matter who gives me a job on their promotional materials.
Actually, Brian is a Met fan, like us. Obviously, we've said that, so that works. But if Boston wants to give me a role as their mascot, I'll be a Boston fan. I think it's listed on his resume, right under SAG eligible. It says Met fan.
SAG eligible, saggy nuts. What's going on with your love segment?
I'd like to, first and foremost, say I will not sacrifice the integrity of any of my artistic endeavors in order to not offend anyone in or out of my life. That will never be the case. That will never be the case. It has never been the case. And
you've got a lot of standards.
It's not currently the case.
That's why you're playing that cheesy song all the time.
Nothing. There's no cheesiness here. This is not Velveeta. This is Gouda.
This is late in the show again. I hope you're not going to make any shocking revelations this segment.
Ain't no revelations, but I will not sacrifice any integrity that has to do with what we are doing for anybody in or out of my life.
Wow.
So,
if I heard Brian say that, I think I'd tear up. But thank you.
You're welcome. So, I was reading one of those...
Brian.
Yeah, kid. I was reading one of these bullshit websites. I'm not going to list what website this is because I'm not necessarily a fan. No, it's like one of those random people writing about being experts about, okay, when you reach 25, you have to do these 25
God, those
things.
are so infuriating.
Yeah, they're terrible. You're not a real New Yorker until you do these 14 things. How to ring in the new year in Los Angeles as a real native Los Angelino.
You're not a complete human until you figure out the 25 things in life that I have figured out.
Yeah. Do the things that I say, and you'll be writing for a shitty website one day too.
That list is one thing long. Don't be a douchebag, and you'll have a nice life. They should have given these writers that information. They wouldn't have to write those articles.
So this
douchebag.
This article is called
Cheeseburger.
This article is called 30 uncommon turn-ons that people are afraid to admit to.
Woo!
And I'm going to not read all 30 of them, but give a few.
The show is much more fun when there's two of you here, Brian. What can I say?
Yeah, kid. So one of them, by the username of This Is My Username, guys, says, I don't mind a little ass play, just like a finger. I don't like telling guys, though, because I don't want them to think it means I'm down for anal.
What the fuck does that mean? I don't know. What is the context? There was one of these things where the guy wrote, oh, yeah, girls love that, or something like that, and then a bunch of people wrote back like, dude, this doesn't sound like a thing that a 25-year-old guy would be reflective about. This sounds like what a 12-year-old boy would fantasize about.
Yes, but like I said, the title of this piece, it's not necessarily a piece, it's just random people messaging and posting the messages. It's called 30 Uncommon Turn-Ons that people are afraid to admit to. There's no article here.
Okay, okay, I see. Okay, 30 uncommon. So he wants a finger in his butt.
Yeah.
Okay.
So let's see. Another one says, rape and incest role play. Definitely not wanting to rape anyone or sleep with family, but I like the taboo.
Okay.
Another one says, underage girls like 14 to 16.
What?
Yeah. I can't help it. I love not having these fantasies.
Wait, where is this writer in jail? Where's this writer?
This username is called Brows of Shame. I'm not into pedophilia or anything.
Brian Williams, stop writing under that name. Get back to work.
Hey kid, I love rape.
Get back to work. Writing those nonsense articles.
There's a 3 days haste says anorexic looking guys.
These people,
I want to be able to count ribs.
Stupid shit, but not under their real names, correct?
No, it's all completely anonymous. Of course, I mean 3 days haste says anorexic looking guys. I want to be able to count ribs. I have no idea why, and it sounds horrible because I know it's not healthy, but it's just so damn attractive. Also, men crying. I don't know. When a guy cries, it just makes me all wet.
Hey, want to have a threesome?
I think I know this person actually. I think I actually know this person. The username is Grunge Bitch.
Oh, okay.
I was sleeping with a French guy for a while who used to speak to me in French during the act. Though I had no idea what he was saying, it turned me on like mad.
Maybe get a turn on that's past the 1980s.
He turned out to be a total and complete asshole.
Right.
We were friends with benefits for a while, and it never went anywhere because he emotionally abused me, made fun of me, and all that awful stuff I didn't deserve.
Because he was the only one that benefited.
Oh, and I didn't know this, but he had a girlfriend, so that was him. But every once in a while, I still watch some French porn and get off in under 5 minutes. I kind of hate myself for it.
Okay.
Let's see. This username is blank. And it says, sadness/emotional anguish, men specifically. In moments of desperate emotional vulnerability or tragedy, give me the girly shivers. It's literally awful, I know. I try not to tell people, but it's the truth.
What? Okay. What is all this for, George? What are you leading up to?
I'm not leading up to anything. It's just what people will admit to anonymously boggles my mind. Let's see. I work in a footwear retail store, sports retail store, selling running shoes and ski boots.
Oh no!
I recently realized I have a foot fetish. I get really turned on when I measure people's feet and touch them.
Maybe Al Bundy had that. Maybe that's why he always stayed at the shoe store.
Yeah, Al.
Shout out to Brian. What else?
This is a personal favorite of mine.
Brian, not the. Well, both Brian's. Go on.
This one is a personal favorite of mine. Girls with psychological problems, daddy issues, or overly attached, or crazy cycle jealous.
Okay.
I've dated a good amount of those.
Okay, so you're saying your hidden desire is well, time out. All right.
Obviously, it's not that hidden anymore, is it?
Okay, are there any more hidden desires, or do you want to get into a conversation real quick?
No, that's it.
Okay, so you like psychotic women? Is what you're saying?
I like a lot of things.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
What do you like?
Obviously, I just said girls with psychological problems, daddy issues, overly attached, or crazy cycle jealous.
I realized in the last few years that I'm really into short girls.
You want short girls? Like how short though?
I would say anywhere between like 5'3" and like 4'9", or 4'. 5'3" and 4'9", that's very short. No, I'm not talking about like someone who's like super skinny or anything like that. Like, if someone's like short but kind of like thick or busty, I don't know. I guess been into that.
Now, would you date a midget?
What is your definition of well, technically a midget is someone under 4'11", so I guess yes.
You would date a dwarf?
I don't know. I mean, it depended on the situation. If I was attracted to the person. But in general, I'm not like having fantasies about someone who is a quote unquote little person. But it's just like when I meet a girl who's like cute and she's like just happens to be a couple inches shorter than regular. There's something. What song is that?
I want no short dick man. I want no short dick man.
Well, these girls might settle for a short dick man if you think about it. But I guess there is something cool about like when you're having like a close conversation with these folks, and you have to look down and they are looking up. You're never thinking, "Oh, should I look at their face or their boobs?" because it's all right there in your frame of vision.
Oh no, Chris, just admit it. It's that God complex that you have. You want everyone looking up to you.
Well, well, I would. I guess maybe it is some sort of higher ground. I guess you could make that analogy, but I don't know, something you could pick them up and like carry them around and stuff like that. So,
like put them, you could take them as a carry-on the plane and just shove them in the overhead compartment.
Yeah, I don't know, something just sexy about
midgets.
Like a little fairy, like a fairy with wings, a little.
You want to bang Tinkerbell, don't you? You sick son of a bitch. Well, don't get me wrong, Julia Roberts' Tinkerbell is hot.
I remember I was watching the Zelda cartoon when I was real little, and he was always trying to hit on Zelda, but she was always such a bitch to him. But then the little Tinkerbell creature that followed him around was like 6 inches tall, and she used to be like, she was kind of fine. And she was like, "Oh, you don't like short girls? Hee hee hee." And I was like, "Actually, I do."
Yeah, man, I like them short girls, man.
Also, I could share one hidden desire with you.
Ooh.
I always desired to do this. I always wondered if I could do this show completely just in my underwear with like no shirt on, and I'm doing it today. I am wearing socks, but I have not felt comfortable enough with Brian on the line not to wear a shirt. But today I am fully in just boxer briefs and socks.
Did you feel violated with hey man, what are you wearing, kid?
Yeah, dude, right now I'm chilling. I just feel comfortable.
I'm glad I make you feel comfortable enough just for you to chill in your underwear. Keep in mind, when we were living together, I was the one chilling in my underwear.
But you were doing it with the door open, and that was attracting weird attention to the house.
It was not. People were curious.
They were trying to look straight and go right into their apartment quickly.
There was only one apartment facing the one that we were staying in. So
yeah, George goes like this. I'm like, "Yo, man, put on some clothes or close the door." And George is like, "Hey, I'm not ashamed of my body." And I said, it doesn't matter. Well, have you ever thought if someone else is ashamed of your body? And he's like, oh, I never thought of it that way before.
I'm comfortable in my sexuality.
Don't want no short dick, man. All right, is there anything else to talk about?
Yeah, neither do I.
Can you play us out with short dick, man?
Yeah, I can do that.
All right, so is there anything else to talk about, or
so far it's a good start to the new year. Let's just put it that way.
All right, let's leave it with that. We'll talk to you guys next week in one form or another. Me and George, going to be shooting a movie in the next couple weeks. So, Brian, you're not allowed anywhere near the set if you're hearing this.
You are banned. You are 86.
But we might run some sort of interesting episodes, like an interview episode or even an episode from the quote-unquote old show, which was a show that we used to do before the podcast long ago. So if we're not live or if we're not current, that's what you guys will be hearing. Thank you guys so much for listening to the show. Check us out if you want to hear the backlog, if you want to hear show number 1 or just show number 3 where George started. If you're into George and his long hair and his 6 foot tall and his no short dick man.
6'2".
Then go to shootingtheish.com to listen to the archive. Check us out on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube at those websites .com/shootingtheish, and we're shootingtheish ish at gmail.com. So thank you guys very, very much. George, thank you. Thank you for making me feel comfortable. Brian Williams, thank you as always for the entertainment you provide.
Twitter.
Woo! And we'll see you guys next week. And until then, you should know that we don't want no...
It's coming.
We don't want no... Oh, God.
Wait, one more.
We don't want no...
Wait. It's almost there.
We don't want no...
Don't want no short dick man. Don't want no short dick man. Don't want no short dick man. Don't want no short dick man.
You know, this was a song in the 90s, and just because it sounded like your typical 90s song, everyone knew it.
I know, it's disgusting.
It's weird when you make product that's rated R, like, oh, this is only for adults, but then all the kids know about it anyway, you know?
Well, on that note, thank you, everyone.
What in the world is that fucking thing? You need some fucking tweezers to put that little thing away?
I think that's what someone said to Joe de Blasio when he got in office.
Dick I have ever seen in my whole life. Get the fuck out of here.
Oh, enough is enough. Oh, this is terrible. I'm shutting this song. Thank you, everyone.
Imagine if that's your one hit. Oh, she sang, that's my grandma. She sang Short Dick Man in 1990.
Oh, yeah. She
Short Dick Man.
Listen, I would love to live off that short dick money.
Stick a dick money. All right, let's get out of here. Run. All right, everybody. Thanks a lot, and we'll see you next time.
Later.
Bye. You've been listening to Shooting the Ish. Don't want no short-ish, man.
Woo!
Don't want no short-ish, man.
Woo!
Don't want no short-ish, man.
Nope.
Woo! All right, later.